Yeah, today I wanted to maybe start some discussion on some of the advanced topics in TFT no one really makes guys about. So they're all mostly pretty intuitive. We'll see how in depth we go, but for the first video in the series, I'm going to talk about TFT multiplicative scaling. So the inspiration behind this, so I made this little cute table, is to multiply your DPS to maximize your DPS. In a super simplified world of TFT, let's just say we have two items. We have a super sword and we have a super bow. So you can only put two items on your AD carry. How do you maximize your DPS? Now, it should be pretty intuitive, right? Say a no item AD carry has 100 AD, 1.0 attack speed. Your net DPS is just two stats multiplied. So you can see with one bow, you get 200 DPS. Two bows, you get 300 DPS. With one sword, you get 200 DPS. With two swords, you get 300 DPS. And with one bow and one sword, you get 400 DPS. Now, where does the extra DPS come from? It's because these two stats, they're multiplicative. Hence, once you start doing multiplication, the number becomes a lot bigger than if you start added DPS. So the key takeaway for this is essentially to get one item from each bucket to maximize your DPS. Now, this concept can be carried forward to many things in TFT on how to itemize your carry. So I made this pretty helpful graphic. For an AD champion, the stats you want to multiply are the following: AD, attack speed, crit, and armor shred. And for AP, it's also very similar. It's just AP, mana, spell, crit, and MR shred. For tanks, it's a little bit more tricky, but for the most part, it's HP, armor MR, percent damage increase like Cavaliers, negate bonus crit damage like Bramble, and CC. And note that CC multiplies the enemy DPS by 0, so it's the most powerful multiplicative stat in the entire game. And then finally we have things like percent damage, which is really rare, so I put that as kind of a caveat, but percent damage is a unique bucket. For example, one Giant Slayer is 80% damage increase, one Giant Slayer plus Nightbringer is only 130. Keep in mind, percent damage is mostly found only on Giant Slayer and on trait units like Nightbringer and Dawnbringer. So this one is a pretty rare bucket. You can't just itemize for it. And then the last thing is healing. Healing is a multiplicative stat, but it's really weird. So it multiplies off damage and tank values. More damage is more healing. More tank values is more value from healing. But it doesn't increase your DPS. So it's just a really weird stat. But it is a multiplicative stat, keep in mind. Okay, with that out of the way, let's just do some basic champion analysis. So the first one we have is Vel'Koz. Vel'Koz has a huge amount of AP built in for Redeemed and Spellweaver. So he wants mana generation, crit, and percent damage increase. So items like Shojin and Jewel Gauntlet increases in value. But items like Deathcap, especially Deathcap and Chalice, decrease in value significantly. Like I said, since he has so much AP, he doesn't actually want more AP, he wants more ways to multiply his damage. He already has AP from his traits, so putting more AP is adding more items into the same bucket. Karma is kind of the exact opposite. Karma has a built-in damage increase, percent damage increase, and healing. So she wants a lot of AP because she has no innate AP. She also wants mana and crit. So things increases in values such as blue buff, Deathcap, Chalice, Jewel Gauntlet. And then decrease in value, not too much, but basically the takeaway of this champion analysis is right off the bat, if you build a Deathcap, you can see that it's a lot more attractive to use Karma as a carry, right? If you build a Jewel Gauntlet, then you can go, it doesn't really matter too much. But like I said, if you slammed a Deathcap at the beginning, I'd much rather go Karma. Now for Draven has a lot of built-in AD, a little bit of attack speed and healing for Legionnaire. He mostly wants crit and armor shred, right? So items like Last Whisper, IE, he wants a little bit more attack speed. And then Runons always has a multiplicative scaling with AD carries because of how Runons works. So Runons is always an option if your unit has a lot of AD. Things that decrease in value are items like Deathblade because Draven already has a ton of built-in AD. And then for Aphelios, he kind of has the opposite problem. Aphelios has a ton of built-in attack speed. He has built-in percent damage increase. So he wants more AD and crit chance and armor shred, and he wants less attack speed items. So things that increase in value are like Deathblade, Last Whisper, IE. Keep in mind, Guinsoo is a weird item. Guinsoo actually scales multiplicatively with attack speed. So Guinsoo is okay to build on Aphelios. Anyways, if you guys are curious, you guys can see this post, which I'll link in the description below. And Runas is always a good item on him. And things that decrease in value are flat attack speed items like RFC and Zeke's, because he already has attack speed built into his kit. One more analysis on tanks. So Leona has armor, MR, and flat damage reduction. So she wants things like percent damage reduction, healing, and items that prevent crit. Redemption is like the perfect item for her because it gives her percent damage reduction and healing. So Redemption is really good on her. Shadow Gargoyles is good on her because it gives her healing. Warmogs is just more HP for her. That would work as well. Items that decrease in value is just items that give you more resistances. So items that give you more armor and MR. And then Hecarim has kind of the opposite problem. Hecarim's trace gives him healing and percent damage reduction from Cavalier. So he actually wants more resistances like Gargoyles, Declaw, and Bramble. And items that start healing him, like Redemption and Shadow Gargoyle, goes down in value a lot. So I think most of it is pretty intuitive, right? There's nothing that's super unintuitive, but I mean, I wanted to do something pretty simple for the first video. I hope it helps out. And if it helps out and people really like this kind of content, I'll probably keep doing more. So yeah, cool. I think that's about it.